Hello, welcome to our astrology study group, and we'll continue with a little bit of relationship analysis. Last week we dove in, we looked at how to start looking at the charts together, two charts, finding, where this is and that is and this and back and forth. And I just wanted to give you sort of the big overview and see one in progress if you haven't seen two charts overlapped and seeing how two people can fit together. One person affects one this way, and the other one affects the other one another way. So today, I'm going to slow it down a little bit and look at how someone's sun affects you or you them. We're going to go both ways. So we're going to have someone's sun is in your blah blah house. So we're going to have the sun person and the house person. So what basically I'm going to let you look at this. This is just a synopsis. I'll go through a lot more in here for you as we go through this. We'll go through each one, and you'll kind of get a gist of it. I wanted to give you just some keywords or something to look at. But each house, there's quite a lot going on in each house. There's lots of parts of that house. So think of it this way: the sun person is the ego, is the shine. And that's like, if that's you, how are you going to be to someone? Well, it will describe your relationship. And sometimes it's not always, you'll see. If it's like a part that might be a business thing, you might marry a business person, you might have a business side to your relationship. Not everybody's is going to be in like the romantic part if you're partnered, or having a relationship with somebody on a romantic level. But this is relationships on all levels. This is how, it's like you can come in contact with, it's like family members. That person's son will be in your first house, and then that one's son will be in your ninth house, and that one's son will be in your 10th house, and you relate to them differently. That's why we have different conversations with some of these people, because they, somebody comes over and says, oh, how you doing with that money investment? That's the second house connection. Another one's coming over with, how is that poetry you're working on? And there's like either your fifth house or your 12th house connection. So that makes a big difference. So I'm gonna read it kind of both ways, from the sun person, okay, or the house person. So try to follow me on this a second. So let's just say, um, you're, again, the sun person. So it'll be your sun in their house. Okay, so say if it's, I don't know, you and Charlene. So you have, let's say she has a traditional Aries overlay. Say she's got Aries rising, right? And let's say you're an Aries. So your sun is going to be in Charlene's first house. See? Hope that makes sense. I'll give you another one. Let's say, you are, okay, keep Charlene as being her Aries rising, right? Let's just say that you are Libra. If she's got an Aries rising chart, you're going to probably be in her seventh house. Now, it could be just a little different because of the degrees. If it's not at 0 degrees or another, it may be just a little off, but I'm just going to give it to you just off the cuff like this. So you can look in the chart and see, I think we looked at, Lindsay and Stevie last week, and we saw like one thing, his sun was like right at, in her 10th house, right at her midheaven. And now one other thing, I just, before I forget to mention, if there is a planet connection, which we'll get there too, not today, but if there is something like right at that person's midheaven or right on their ascendant or descendant, it makes it a little more powerful. But we'll get there. Okay, so sun in the first house. Sun is in, let's say, the sun partner, that your sun. Okay, we'll pretend you're both sun or house person, and I'll word it that way. So the sun in the partner's first house, it creates a real familiar feeling between you two. The sun person really likes the house person overall. You like maybe how they look, their style, how they approach life, or their mannerisms. You feel like you're on the same page, like they get you, they understand you. You can be yourself and a lot, really easily around them, in a way that you feel very natural. and you can, let your guard down because you feel so much rapport. Now, the house person enjoys the admiration and approval from the sun person. Okay. The house person gets invigorated by the sun person. House person feels like the sun person lights up their life. They do. They come in, they're like, oh, this is great. You're awesome. It's like, oh, thank you. I like being awesome. You make me feel awesome. So the sun in the first house makes both partners feel comfortable and positive about each other. This is a good one. You both increase each other's self-esteem. You bring out the best in each other. This is a good overlay for marriage. With this condition here. All right, if someone's sun is in your second house now, so the sun in somebody's second house makes the house person a valuable asset to the sun person. The sun person sees something of value in the house person. However, this is not necessarily romantic or intimate, though it can be. So this could be more on a business level or something like that. It may be that the sun person thinks the house person can help them achieve some goal. Mhm. The sun person can provide, say, maybe financial backing or support to the house person. See, because the sun is going to be in that financial house. They're gonna want to help or do that because that's what house that sun is in. That part is in. So the house person now, with the sun there, gets a sense that the sun person could want something from them. Um, they might want to just help, or they might want a percentage from the financial backing that they're going to give them. Oh, I'll send you some money and I'll only charge you this much, a little cheaper than the bank, but I'd rather make some money. So it could be that way, right? The house person may give in to the demands, even though they sense that, it's, well, it depends on if it's romantic or not. So we don't even have to go in that direction. Um, let's see what else. Um, both partners, there could be like a common goal that you're working towards. So it's like, let me fund you, let me back you with this kind of. So it's kind of like it could create a positive environment for the two of you to work towards a profitable goal, or you're both willing to work together. Or the relationship could be focused on real practical things, practical matters, getting things done on that busy level. So they're not always romantic, but you can see like if it was, that's where it might have come about. Some of these more than others are like that. So the sun, okay, let's go on. In the third house, okay, so the sun in the third house, okay, you'll enjoy talking to each other. It can create a real comfortable atmosphere, lively mental rapport. The sun person sees the house person as maybe having good common sense. The sun person maybe thinks that the house person is brilliant. um, or has a lot of information, or you're so knowledgeable. You got that Gemini stuff inherently in that house. So the house person goes about things the right way. They may even consider the house person predictable, right? Um, if you're the house person, the sun person could really get your gears going. You could feel mentally stimulated, even smarter around the sun person. You may get so stimulated by the sun person that you just might get like your heart might race and you get really energized. Um, this also could be like neighbors could be on this relationship, brothers and sisters, where it's more of a mental thing. It's not business here. It's just, it could be chit chat, idle chit chat, uh, about, just more superficial types of things. So that where those, some of that, really, not always, I mean, it's, it could be anywhere, in a romantic relationship, but there's a certain draw to certain people. This is what's so funny about astrology that you will have. It's like you'll find that, whatever house is stimulated, you'll draw that type of people. All right. The fourth house, the sun in the partner or in somebody's fourth house could also create a deep feeling of familiarity, kind of like the first house. Because it's like this is the house of home, right? So you might feel real familiar. So even when you first met, you might felt like you already knew each other. The sun person has a could have a mysterious feeling in their stomach that you've had some history together before. You know, like, where have I known you before? Or like, we belong together. You just know it. So the sun person can feel deeply bonded to the house person. You feel protective of the house person, and you can act like a parent to the house person. So if it's a romantic relationship, just watch that you don't just parent your partner all the time. If you're the sun person, um, yeah, you can be careful that you don't overprotect that house person. If it's a parent child relationship, that's different. But that doesn't always keep it, things don't always fall neatly. All right, now the person that can feel this bond too. And you might find that you trust the sun person deeply without any guard. You can get a deep sense of security just from being around the sun person. And when you're with the sun person, you feel like nobody can harm you. So they're like the outer shell of your crab, that fourth house, you're the inner part of that. So the interesting part is that they make you feel secure. It could be even when they're financially broke. Um, so the security comes from a gut feeling, although it's not any less real. So this is a very strong overlay for marriage or long-term relationships of any kind, because you feel committed and you feel like sticking together. So it's easier for you two to set up house together, and there could be a strong desire to live together. Now, I'm just giving you starting with just the sun. Okay, of course, there's the sign that's involved, which could strengthen or weaken what I'm telling you here, and then there's aspects to the any planets there that could make or break the deal as well. And we'll get there, but we got to start with some lens, and we're starting with just the sun in the place, and we make it easy to understand. All right, moving on. The sun in the partner's fifth house is like, wow, the sun person sees the house person as a source of fun, pleasure, enjoyment. It's like, yippee. You see them in delight. You see them as a person you can enjoy yourself with. You feel that life will be great, happy, joyful. Um, it's like you feel lucky. You feel like pleasurable being in that person's presence. You just like it. Um, they fill your senses with so much pleasure because the fifth house is that Leo house of all of that stuff. It's your creations. It could be art creations. It could be children. It's romance too. So there could be sometimes this connection could be flings, romance, romantic relationships, um, affairs. All right. What else I want to tell you about this? The house person can enjoy how much the sun person adores them. Okay, so the sun is there in that house, and then that house is going, oh, they're adoring me. So in return, you have great love for the sun person. Both partners can enjoy romance in this relationship. We talked about that. Um, if there is going to be something to stick on a relationship level, we have to, if this is there should be other things too, to make sure it can be a longer term. The sun person could be wearing rose colored glasses here, so it's likely you're overlooking the house person's flaws. It could be a positive or negative thing, either way. Sun in the sixth house. Now, this is like, it can kind of compel one person to be submissive to the other. This would be like a traditional boss employee, or it could be like a doctor patient. So it could be good for the house person to have the doctor's son in their sixth house, because that would be more caring for that person. Um, One person feels obligated to obey the other. Yes, doctor, or yes, boss. Yes, boss. To get something done. This relationship seems to revolve around getting some work done. Together, you can be very productive. The sun person tends to be the one to fall into the subordinate role. When your son, let's see, whether your son, whether you, the son, are okay with this or not, depends on your individual characteristics. But then the roles can also be reversed. They don't always have to be that way. The house person may feel obligated to micromanage parts of the relationship, although they really enjoy the son's help, but they still got to comment there, nitpick. And this is funny. It's like If that's you, you may not be like that with anybody else. And that's how these are, because they trigger that part of you. um this is also kind of relationship, like if it's best for like a work related, like I said, or doctor patient, but it can work in marriage as well, or house, or I mean, or close relationships. And it's a kind of relationship also which you both share all the duties. You share the household shares, you share the duties, you share the routine, and it kind of works that way. All right, now getting into an interesting one. When the sun in the seventh house, when the sun is in the partner's seventh house, that's the part that's opposite of you, right? You're both deeply moved by each other. You get a clear sense that you fit together, you belong together, that you're complementary opposites of each other. The feeling here could be really strong that you feel like no one else will fit you as well as you do with each other. It could be very compelling. It's like really tough when somebody's got this, no matter what the relationship. This overlay more than any other really makes people feel like they're united as one. You're not simply a pair, but you complement one another wholly. You welcome each other as if you're welcoming some lost long part of yourself. But the danger here is that your individual personalities can be lost. The two can become one. When this happens, each of you may rebel against each other as you struggle to regain your identity, your own individuality. And here is the main problem. Now we have a love-hate relationship. So your struggle to preserve your individuality, you may be driven to express your unique qualities in extreme ways. For example, if you're normally only quiet in other relationships, this sun in the seventh relationship will drive you to extreme passivity and silence. If you have any tendency toward bossiness, it will come out full blown in this relationship. You're both subconsciously trying to prove that you're your own person separate from the relationship, but you do this with extreme behaviors that sometimes can be more harm than good. You complement each other. You each feel like the other person is a big presence in your life. This means that they can really get into your head. You can lash out violently because you feel intruded upon by this person who seems right at home in your private mind. It could make for good sex relations too. I really know you. Love and hate are opposite sides of the same coin. You can't really have one without the other. So the secret is really to find the balance, with that Aries Libra kind of mode. It's all about balance between harmonious pieces of the whole and being individuals. That kind of sounds like an Aquarian thing. They got to be their own rebel, but yet watch the whole thing as well. This type of relationship can work best if you're both committed in an intimate partnership. If you're not intimately committed, you can both find yourselves really stressed out in this relationship. All right, if you thought that one was good, now Sun in the eighth. Sun in the eighth, in the partner's eighth house, is not for the faint of heart. It can create a bond between you that is more like a chain with a spiked collar around both of your necks. Reminds me of the devil card. The sun person has been captivated by the eighth house person. The sun person has been captivated by the eighth house person. Of course, you're walking into Scorpio house. As the sun person, you may feel very unsettled psychologically by the house person, but yet you're powerless to leave their clutches. It's forever. There may be something deeply disturbing, dark, or mysterious about the eighth house person. Your instincts may tell you to run, but that only makes you remain fascinated by the house person. They awaken something deep inside you that you never even knew existed before. You can sense that the eighth house person has the power to transform you. This can be disturbing, and not everybody will enjoy this type of relationship. I mean, this is heavy, this is deep, this is scorpionic, this is transcending. It may be that the house person walked into your life at a time when you, the sun person, could have hit a rock bottom. So the house person in this case will be able to help you rise out of your ashes. The eighth house person feels a strong bond to the sun person. Okay, so it's like, oh, you've come in to light up my darkness. The house person will not let go of the other under almost any circumstance. So there's a level of emotional dependence here that can be scary for you both. Mm-hmm. Both partners initially feel afraid of this relationship and yet bewitched at the same time. You're drawn to each other the way people are drawn to watch horror movies. You know you shouldn't look, but you look anyway. Oh, goodness. Um, it's not all that bad. My dad's son falls into my eighth house, and we've always talked about deep subjects together. I would say that that's that bond with us. We don't have um light conversations. We our conversations, I remember as a little kid, very deep, just it's like, gosh, why are you talking to your kid about that? It's like, well, she wanted to talk to me. So um it could just really bring on depth of conversation, depth of something, but there again, there's some kind of a strong pull, psychic pull on that. Okay, sun in the ninth. The sun in the partner's ninth house. You could share, similar worldviews, similar philosophies, anything from how people should dress, or how government should be run, how the politics should be run, how school systems should be run. You stimulate each other mentally, but on a higher level, not like this third house, Gemini, but more on, the philosophical, like holier than thou. You could teach each other, you could influence each other on higher levels. You can work well in like politics, law, education, higher education, religion, astrology, tarot, esoterics. um you could have a great friendship. um a strong friendship is a great basis for any kind of a relationship. This could also be a guru, or a mentor relationship. This could be, somebody following somebody. Oh, Baba Goo Goo. um, or a really good traveling partner. It's like that wanderlust. Oh, let's go over here. Let's travel together. Let's go there. It could be that person might support that part of you. All right, sun in the 10th. This is like this could be, let's get it right out of the way. The first one, it could be, this person may act as the sun person could act as a parent toward the house person, just kind of like the fourth house. We got that dichotomy there. Feeling the sun person may act as a parent toward the house person, feeling you have some responsibility toward them. Or you could be in a position to help their reputation, or help them advance their work. um what else? The house person notices and respects that, what they receive from the sun person, because the sun is lighting up their 10th house. That could be somebody that could show the way for them. It could be somebody that could, how would I say it, help them out in business, um, move the way, open doors for them on a career level, um, be the instrument for helping them to attain their higher aspirations in life, their goals, their higher goals on their maybe their career. The house person is not naturally authoritative. If they're not, this relationship could boost their skills, boost their leadership skills, boost their confidence, so to speak. So the sun would definitely, shine that. And if the house person is naturally an authoritative type, this they could feel comfortable in like business as usual. It might be a work or business related type of relationship. But again, if it's not, then like we saw with Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, another video, they were boyfriend girlfriend, and then the boy's son was in, right there at her midheaven, and he helped her. Lindsey Buckingham helped Stevie Nicks get, publicly noticed. Okay. Sun in the 11th. This can really be like a nice friendship. This can be like you begin as friends. You can accept a no strings attachment arrangement from the beginning. The sun person sees the 11th house person as someone they can hang out with. It's their friend. Both partners can enjoy, or both people can enjoy, a rewarding and hassle-free relationship without a lot of nitpicking. Because you're too into your own head kind of thing. You may treat each other friendly, non-judgmental. People may wonder how you get along so well. And then the house person is drawn to the sun person, who may occupy a leading position in a group the house person is in. That may be where that is. Um, you accept each other's differences and flaws. You tolerate each other's idiosyncrasies. Because you create this non-judgmental environment, you both feel free to confide in each other regarding any problems or anxieties that you face. You are good sounding boards for each other's pipe dreams. You encourage them rather than put them down. Even in marriage, you have the tendency to treat each other as friends. It's not so much of a deep emotional overlay for relationships, but a positive one nonetheless. It's kind of a way different one than the eighth house. Woo! Um, and the last one, the sun in the 12th. The sun in the partner's 12th house can create an atmosphere of mystery in your relationship. Remember, this is the Piscean house, Pisces house where everything dissolves. Um, the sun person sees the house person as exotic, fascinating, even otherworldly or strange, right? Um, you could have a strange fascination with the house person that you can't quite understand, since they could be quite different from you. It depends. It's like if you're Pisces and Pisces sun in there, you'll get along much better. Anyway, you're drawn to them, perhaps out of curiosity. Maybe you desire a strange experience or flirt with the unknown. The sun person is attracted to the house person almost against their better judgment. The house person's a mystery. You can't read them. They're Pisces. They probably can't even read themselves. You can't understand the way they think because they don't think logically. Not at all. You find them unpredictable. You also think that they can't understand you. There is a foggy barrier confusion over this relationship, and you might have a hard time understanding each other sometimes. Um, it's like speaking a different language, trying to manage a conversation sometimes. Or on another note, the sun person can illuminate like mystical and esoteric experiences for the house person. The house person can provide the substance for that sun person to get involved in. So um, it's it's definitely it could be a broadening relationship too, but it's also could be muddled and confusing. So it depends. Again, a lot of them depend a lot more on what sign the sun is in, whether it's harmonious here or not. If it's in a sister sign, the same element, it'll probably get along better. If it's in a conflicting element, um, not so well. And then again, if there's some things that are inharmonious, then they make for more strife. But this is why we study astrology. Um, this is definitely why we look at things the way we do, and we help to offset these things. We learn about the differences. We learn about male and female polarities, so we learn how to balance them. We look at the qualities, cardinal, fixed, mutable, to see where we're at in relation to things. It's like, are we starters? Are we people that hold things down and don't change, and or are we the ones that move it, that fuzz it out so new change can begin? um, how do these combinations fit in, and then how do they fit in with others? That's our quest with life. That's our quest as astrologers too, if you're working with relationships. And it's, again, not all relationships are romantic, of course, but helping people see these other types of relationships. Like, why does my brother irk me? Or why does this person, why am I blah blah there? It's like, why do I feel that way here? I don't feel that way with anybody else. It's because of this. It's because of these things exactly. So knowing this, you can kind of take the hooks out, if they're negative. You can see how you're controlled. And once you see something, you go, I can see how to take that splinter out. Now I didn't know it was a splinter. Now I see it in full thing. And I got tweezers. I can, in a magnifying glass, I can pull that splinter out, where before you couldn't. So that's some of the power of astrology. And I just love it. I think it's just a awesome tool. We should learn this as kids. We should learn this, have, in school, start learning some of this stuff, so that when you get to the relationship age, you start understanding that. And I think it could really offset a lot of problems that people would have. So nonetheless, hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.